sure your path is clear, because sometimes you mix it thick and it's like, okay, I got about 20 seconds to try to get this place. Hey, it's Don with the Nearly Historical Railroad channel, and today I forgot my tripod, so this could be interesting. But anyways, rock molds, custom homemade ones, and some store-bought ones. That's what we're gonna do today. That's the plan anyways. All right, here we go. Wait, I'm gonna show you a couple things again that my dad has done. A little bit of things here. Oh, you can almost see it. Hold on, check this out. Okay, I wanna make sure you stick around because we're gonna show you how we do rock molds and make cliffs out of Hydrocal. So, we're here in Cimarron, and out this way, my dad painted this Hydrocal area that we did, I think in the last video. So, just got some paint on it, so it's not, white. Oh, and I stuck a car there because, it's open to traffic now. Construction is done for the moment. All right, and this is St. Elmo. And my dad got in some more fascia board here. He had this little piece up to hold it, but he actually put fascia board here and all the way across the bottom. This looks very nice. And also filled in this little hole with a piece of plywood. I said, wow, that looks like a lake. So who knows what random bit of scenery will end up going there, but this is good. And again, this area is just like a upper shelf and a lower shelf, just to get the track by the stairs here, and then they need to kind of come back together right in here. So it's just going to be a little bit of weirdness, but that's fine. We can still make a nice little scene right in there, I think. Here's the other side of the stairs, St. Elmo down that way. So you got that the fascia on there. And also a little bit on the front here where Buena Vista starts. Also, he got some wire mold stuff here. This white strips here to kind of hide the wire. We can kind of paint those, but the DCC wire feeder wires go up through that, or bus lines actually, go up through that. Oh look. Car moved in. And since I'm standing right here, we were talking about the Intermodal Yard stuff a little bit earlier this evening. I don't know, there's still some track work that needs to be done. Basically, it's waiting for me to build a couple more custom dual gauge turnouts for in here. But we kind of had some new ideas, possibly, and that might be to put a track in here, dual gauge, and just go ahead and run that through the wall. Not a load-bearing wall, so we're gonna just run it through there and let it go ahead and just connect on to that. So this will be our cattle thing for, the Colorado Southern transfer and stuff or whatever, but also it can be like a runaround track or a drop-off track for dropping cars off for the Intermodal Yard. So I kind of liking that idea, we'll see what happens. Kenosha Pass. I forgot about this till I just started shooting for a second. So my dad did some paint up here. That's pretty cool. And I wasn't even gonna get into this. No, I was going to. I just wasn't prepared. But anyways, here we go. So there's what was there and what would look better for the average viewing audience in our room here. So there was, I don't have the drawing with me right now, but there was actually a bunkhouse, or a section house, but it was on that side of the track over there. There was a little depot thingy, but it was actually over here. But I have this building, and if I put it in the other spot, you can't see the front of it, and that's kind of cool because it's got the little, I don't know what that thing's called, little signal board up there. You won't be able to see that if I put it where it technically should be. So I may have to deviate from reality and go ahead and maybe stick it where it is there. And that section house fits in there really nice. There was actually another, again, boarding house, section house, something over on this side. I'm not gonna do that. So I may deviate from reality just for the benefit of what would actually look better in our situation. here's a photograph of the actual little flag stop station thingy there. And it was on the inside of the Y. But if you notice also, the track on this picture curves the opposite direction mine does. So, you know, might as well break from reality a little more anyways. Focus. So yeah, I mean, I really am trying to make this like it was, but you know, I mean, there was a third track in here. I have 2. There was actually 3 at one point. So I'm probably gonna deviate a little, and I'm okay with that. I've come to grips with it. I'm all right with that. Like I said, I mean, me and you and a couple other people out on the internet might know that it's wrong, but the majority of people that actually come in and see this, it's gonna look cool, and they won't know anything different at all. And somehow I'll learn to sleep at night. I'll just have to deal with it. All right. Okay, so I kind of dug through my rock molds. These are ones that I've made. I think these will work good for this area in here. John brought over a really big rock mold. The center of it seems kind of weird. Maybe it's damaged, I'm not sure, but there's parts of it that could be good. And I don't have anything that's like excellent for trying to match, you know, that. There's a couple rocks out by my house that I was gonna try and make molds of, but I just haven't got around to it. So I've got this big one, and I've got some other ones that I made even a longer time ago, and they got some kind of nice lines in them, so I might try to work with these. I'm gonna do up some rock molds just to kind of get started, see what happens. All right, check back with you in a moment. Look, Scott is here, not just on a piece of paper, he's actually physically here, and we're doing rock molds. Boy, is it nice to have somebody else to help out. So I'm just gonna, I gotta move, hold on. Okay, so the way I do rock mold, I think, is different than everybody else out there. I can't see from here either. Hold on.
Up there.
Okay, I can only hold the camera with one hand because it's only one click. So here's what we do is we take a rock mold and we figure out where it will fit nicely, and maybe even just what part of it, because maybe the whole thing doesn't fit, but maybe a section of it fits.
And I'm gonna do right here. So I'm gonna take right here and I'm gonna match it up.
There we go. So we know what we're gonna do. So we're planning ahead, and we're using the Hydrocal, so it's gonna dry fast. So Scott's gonna go ahead and spray spray that spot. So we're just gonna spray some water on that little spot real quick. Just so it's got a little water. Then we're gonna go mix up some stuff. Okay, so we're outside. Dad is being gracious enough to clean rock molds, clean bowls, and clean mixing sticks for us. This helps out immensely. So he's doing all the cleaning, and we're doing the mixing and sticking. So
And it is nighttime out here.
yeah, it's a little dark, but I only have one hand, so I can't really adjust the camera that much.
Sorry.
I took one rubber glove off. So we're taking the dry Hydrocal, putting it into, this is a secret. This is a toy ball cut in half. I wish it was a little thicker.
It's glittery.
But yes, it's a glittery one, but it's cut in half. That way, if you're doing this on your own, you can mix it up, pour this stuff into the mold, and if you don't get to cleaning the bowl right away, it's okay, because it's flexible and it pretty much all cracks out. All right. So it's cooled off a little bit now, but we kind of try to start with warmer water, because then it kind of sets up quicker. And unlike the paper and stuff, we actually want to mix this pretty thick, and we want it to set up quick.
Mind you, this is my 4th time doing this, so I'm still not an expert.
Yes, Scott showed up today, and I told him put some dirty clothes on before he got here. He showed up, and I said, guess what you're gonna try? Because I don't want to have to do all this myself. So having a second person is good.
Send me a little more.
Yep, so it's a little thin still. And we could wait for it to set up, but who's got time to wait? So we'll add a little bit more in to thicken it up. And it's really, I can't tell you how much to, how thick to make it or whatever. You just, once you start doing it, you'll kind of figure it out.
And you have to find your own rhythm too, because I'm slower at pouring it than you are. You just zip, zip, done.
Yeah.
I can't do that yet.
So Yeah, Scott's just saying you gotta kind of find your own rhythm at doing it. So the way I imagine a lot of people do this is they'll pour a mold and let that sit on the table and harden up so they have a nice rock mold they can take in and kind of try to glue to their mountainside somewhere. And I don't know, to me it's like hopefully it's gonna fit right. I don't know, but the way I usually do it is, well, we'll show you in a minute. So that's still wet in the mold.
And thin.
And a little thin on this one, but time will fix that.
Yes.
All right, so we're gonna head back inside.
Talk about whatever.
Scott says I can talk about whatever. So,
It's too good.
so this one ended up a little bit thin. So we'll just kind of have to wait. But you notice he's got some that's dripping out, and he's just kind of taking that and kind of placing it around the edges of some of the already placed molds. Now, again, this is everything's all white. It's hard to kind of tell on the camera, I'm sure, what has a rock mold and what doesn't. It really, you do all this work and it doesn't look like much. And then someday you come along and you paint it and do highlights and the cracks, and it pops then. It's like, ooh, hey, that's cool looking. So what we're looking for is when we kind of bend it, we want to see some kind of cracks start to form. And if it's not doing that, it's not quite wet enough. So Scott's gonna do that, and I'm gonna show you, I'm working on this little wall here. That is the retaining wall I'm kind of going for. I have a rock mold here that is my stone kind of wall. It's not big enough for this, so I'm kind of layering it, and I will have to do some custom carving and stuff to make this all work. But I do that. This all up here still needs rock molds, and still it does down here. So, and a lot of this looks really ugly during the process. You can see there's some pretty nasty edges here, but that's not done. We'll kind of fill that in. Probably do a whole nother rock mold here. There's some there already, and here. We'll probably add some in here. My hope was that this was not quite so steep to where I needed to do a rock mold. I'm still hoping for that. It's the angle of repose. Look that up. Different material works different ways. If it's, certain steepness, it's gonna roll off and it's probably just gonna be rock. Then you need to have a rock mold. But if it's got enough of an angle, it will kind of pile up and not roll off. All right, so we're checking the mold here. So it's almost starting to kind of crack a little bit, and it's still very wet. It almost needs a little bit more. So we got this one a little bit wet. So we try to mix it thick so you don't have to wait too long, but there's a fine line between thick and, oh my gosh, I gotta get in there in the next 10 seconds, otherwise this is not gonna work.
Which was my first time.
Right.
Oh, don't shake it, just put it on there, okay?
My dad and I did a fairly large rock mold earlier tonight, and it just completely failed because it was just too thick. It's sitting all up in the lake up there now, so that's all that. The whole thing just cracked apart and fell off. So timing is everything. So it's getting pretty close. I almost go. Oh, so here's another little important thing too. Sometimes he'll kind of shake it to get the fat out of it. No, to get.
Again.
So you want to shake it to get the air bubbles to rise up to the top. Basically, you just don't want the air bubbles down on the mold, because you will see that when it comes off.
Like there's air bubbles.
I don't know if we can see that. Let's see. Yeah, yep. There's a couple little.
There. A little bit right there. Nah, that's the one that my first try.
See how it's cracking now? But he can shake it and kind of get the cracks out. So that's like kind of the perfect thickness. So it's still flexible. We're good. So now he's going to stick this on there. And this is where I think I do things a little different. We stick it on there and we're pushing it into and holding it to the contour of the existing mountain that's already there. And that way we don't have this hard, flat rock mold that we have to try to, make fit on some curved mountain. We're actually pushing the mold into the mountain. And
not so hard that it'll squish everything out, but just enough to hold its shape.
Right. Yeah, you don't want to push hard, but just enough to where it's got good contact, hopefully, and all the edges that you can hopefully reach. Sometimes you'll lose edges. Sometimes the whole thing will work. It's tricky. It's tricky. And what I kind of do is I have the radio on, but due to copyright issues, I can't do that right now. But I'll a lot of times wait for like the length of a song to play.
Average is like 3 minutes and 30 seconds.
And then I figure, okay, that's probably about okay. And then I'll kind of start peeling the edges back.
Hopefully you're enjoying this video.
Great, Johnny.
For who? Hey, for you and me, because look, I'm just leaning around.
Yeah, so the trick is make sure you're
I have a good one.
comfortable.
If you have time to lean, you have time to clean.
If you have time to lean, you have time to clean. So, sorry the camera's a little shaky. I'm trying to hold it with one hand that I took the glove off of. And his arms started to get tired. Sometimes you can kind of let loose a little bit and it'll kind of hold itself. Oh yeah. But the longer you can hold it on there, the higher chances of success. So it is a hard way to do it, I guess. But it's the way I was taught. And it's just kind of the way I've always done it. All those tunnels over there, I can't zoom in because of my dirty hand. I did all that the same way Scott's doing it right now, basically. So.
One piece at a time.
Yes, one piece at a time. And you can get big rock molds, but you're going to need a couple people to try to hold all that on there.
I think for a beginner, such as myself, the smaller pieces to start out with are way wiser than just trying to make a pancake.
Right. Start small. Scott started with this right here. That is actually a rock mold that I made. And I used a piece of coal. Coal can have some really neat detail to it. So again, just liquid latex. That's a whole nother video possibly. How to make your own rock molds, but.
Well, I know the outside of this thing is dry because of my gloves.
Yeah.
And stuff, but still.
Definitely wear gloves because this is Hydrocal and it's like a concrete kind of material, which is
bad for your hands.
bad for your hands. It just sucks the moisture right out of your hands. It's probably all right there.
Okay.
So he's gonna just start pulling the mold off from the edges. Don't be discouraged if you lose some, but
going that way.
hopefully we had good contact with everything. And if you waited long enough, it might be hard enough to where if there was a void back there, you'll still kind of be okay.
So you fell apart here because I didn't have enough pressure.
Yeah, it was either not enough pressure against that or just wasn't making good contact against the backing there. And this is also why you need that backing to be fairly strong. So sometimes it's good to do a couple different layers of the Hydrocal paper strips just to give it some strength because you're going to be pushing on it some. So not all of it worked, but a lot of it did. And that works out good. So now, as soon as you can get that mold off, you want to clean that because that Hydrocal gets really tough to get out of there. So we hand that over to my dad.
And he's already gone.
And since this mold kind of overlaps another one or butts up against another one, we'll take a knife and kind of carve in some of these cracks or whatever and just kind of continue that on. You can do this later, but this stuff gets seriously hard. So it's better to do it now while it's actually still malleable, carvable, shapeable, all that stuff.
This here goes down in a hole. Should I just lock
Just
it
leave
off?
it. Yeah, so leave that, and what we'll probably do is we'll just we're gonna end up with extra bits of Hydrocal. We can just throw it in there and kind of
I know
make
they
it work.
can't see, so I'm just gonna demonstrate by
Yeah,
showing
so there's a little
the
hole
scratcher.
back there, but
Pretty decent.
we can just kind of fill that in with something. But it looks good, huh? It looks good from here, so. All right. We will be back with you in a moment. Okay, I'm gonna show you a little bit of progress. It's late, I gotta get home, but so I'm not gonna set up the light and stuff, but I think I can kind of show you a little bit. Okay, so it may not look much different, if anything, just messier, but no, we've done a lot. Like I said, with these rock molds, a lot of times you can't see much progress until you paint them. Then it's like, oh, that looks cool. So Scott has done good. He got a lot of this done. This is the first time he's ever done rock molds. So that's pretty cool. He's done really well. And once he was working in that area, I kind of moved to doing this stone wall here. And that is turning out pretty good also, I think. I'm going to probably kind of manually do the top edge. Have to carve that. So, you know, it's not quite as flat as the original wall, but you know what? I don't have forever to try to carve this all by hand, so using those rock molds and putting them together, that made it a lot quicker, and I'm fine with that. So we'll have other dirt that comes up to here, so it'll just blend into the natural ground there nicely. But that has turning out nice, I believe. It's gonna be pretty neat. Oh, wait, I wanted to show you this transition area here because I came up with an idea. It's my new current idea. It's subject to change tomorrow. But anyways, this is gonna be cool. So I got some rock mold in here and it needs more, but I wanna do the rock mold, get that all done, get the rock mold all painted and everything. And my dad already has a piece of fascia that's gonna go on right here and go that way. So what would be neat is once that's done, I wanna take a picture of that, go outside or go on the internet, try and find some other pictures of similar kind of mountains and colors, bring it into Photoshop and maybe make my own photo backdrop, but have that photo backdrop match into this real world rock mold stuff here. And that would just go right into the photograph and I can match the colors probably really close. So here it's like real and three-dimensional, and then here it just changes into a picture and just goes, I don't know how far down, but that's a good idea. Whether I use it or not, maybe you can use that idea. It's a cool thing. Alrighty then, there's our rock molds cleaned up. My dad's gone in the house, Scott is left, I'm halfway cleaned up. Hope you maybe learned something in that video, something about doing rock molds and mountains. I tried to kind of show you what we actually do. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to because it's hard to run the camera and rock molds at the same time, but luckily Scott was here and that helped out a lot. So thank you very much, Scott, for that. And you know what? I think that's it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Tell others about it if you feel it worthy of telling other people about the channel. If not, well, don't tell them. But anyways, we'll catch you next time. Thank you very much. Subscribe, hit the like button, and all that stuff and things. All right, bye.